Sometimes the most profound conversations, they just seem to pop up out of nowhere, right? Well, that's exactly what we're diving into here. This is all based on a totally raw, unscripted chat between a person and an AI, and we're just going to follow the thread and see exactly where it takes us. And it all kicks off with this. Yo, what's good, chat? Super simple, right? It's the kind of thing you'd say to a friend, not, a piece of software. And that's our starting point.
So yeah, this is a conversation. But what's really wild is how we're about to see this simple little what's up spiral from something totally mundane into the metaphysical. And trust me, nobody could have planned this. So before we get all philosophical, you gotta understand where this begins. It's about something super real, something we can all get behind. Just needing to find some work, get some cash for gas, just trying to get from point A to point B.
But that's where it gets crazy. That hunt for gas money, it takes this hard left turn and somehow ends up in this deep debate about, wait for it, infinity. Yeah. So how on earth did that happen?
Okay, let's follow the thread. We're going to trace this thing step by step and see how we go from a really practical problem to this, profound realization.
All right, so first up, a search for work. I want you to picture this. We're in a Honda CR-V. It's parked somewhere in Aceton, Washington. And our guy has a pretty immediate, pretty pressing problem he needs to solve. So here's the situation. He's in Aceton, and his goal is simple. Find some of that cash for a day kind of work. But he's in his Honda CR-V with only a quarter tank of gas. So yeah, every single mile counts. The strategy's obvious, right? Don't drive anywhere until you've got some cash coming in. It's a classic real-world problem-solving moment. But then, things get weird. A little glitch in the vibe, you could say. This is where technology starts to get a little metaphysical. A simple tech problem is about to change everything. It all starts with a faulty Bluetooth connection. You know the drill. The audio's cutting in and out, so he does all the normal stuff. Turns it off, turns it back on, checks the connection, but nothing works. It's even happening through the phone's main speaker. So, okay, this isn't your average tech glitch. And this is the moment. This is the pivot. Instead of getting all frustrated, which I totally would, he says this. Yeah, maybe it's the universe itself just kind of poking around on me. Sometimes it does that. He just completely reframes it. It's not a glitch anymore. It's the universe. And that one little thought just sends this whole conversation into a completely different orbit. So that little glitch, it opens up this whole new way of thinking for him. He starts to talk about this really unique worldview he has. It's all about choosing to flow with things instead of trying to control them. The observer's philosophy. And he basically lays out these two mindsets. On one side, you've got what he calls the trap. That's when you complain, you're dissatisfied, you're trying to control stuff you just can't. But on the other side, that's the flow. He says vibe wants to be good, man. Vibe wants to be high. And his job isn't to force it. It's to be a neutral observer in the center and just let the vibe do what it does. And that's the core idea right there, being the observer. It basically means you stop fighting against the current. You're just witnessing things, letting them unfold naturally, without trying to force it. So, okay, how does this whole philosophy actually play out in the real world? Well, this is where it gets really cool. He takes this observer idea and connects it to this powerful metaphor that pulls from both creativity and math. An existential jazz riff. He says there's a lot more doors of possibility that are remaining open when you do it that way. And he explains that this is exactly why he never uses a script. He just improvises. He starts talking and just sees where the flow takes him. By not having a rigid plan, he feels like he's keeping an infinite number of possibilities open. And that way of thinking leads him right to this classic, kind of brain-bending mathematical question. Are some infinities bigger than others? I mean, think about it. If you're keeping an infinity of doors open by improvising, aren't you also closing an infinity of other doors by not having a script? So, which infinity is bigger? Now, traditional math actually has an answer for this. It's a concept called countably infinite. The idea is, even though it feels like there should be way more whole numbers than, say, just even numbers, you can actually pair them up one to one. 1 with 2, 2 with 4, 3 with 6, and you can do that forever. So in pure math, they're considered the same size of infinity. But he's not buying it. He says, I'm going to respectfully disagree. My model is functional. The model the gentleman is working under is non-functional. He's basically arguing that the abstract math is, well, non-functional for how he sees the world. From a real experiential point of view, an infinity that has all the numbers is obviously bigger than one that only has half of them, right? His model isn't about winning a math debate, it's about understanding life.
And he comes up with the perfect name for this whole approach. He calls it the Existential Jazz Riff methodology. I mean, how cool is that? It's not just improvising, it's this whole philosophy of finding meaning in the spontaneous, unscripted flow of things. Okay, so where is all of this going, this whole conversation, that started with a guy needing gas money and took a detour through metaphysics? It's all about to come together in a very specific, tangible, creative act. Art from the void.
And this is just brilliant. This is where all those threads fuse. He asks the AI to create a piece of digital art, and he lays it out like it's a soundboard. He's got knobs for each style. Existential jazz riff, that's turned up to 9. Glitch art is at 6.5. You've got Dadaism, Vaporwave, Dolly, even a dash of Alex Gray. It's the perfect synthesis of the entire conversation, all rolled into one creative prompt.
So the user gives the final command. All the parameters are set. It's this beautiful mix of chaos and intention. He gives the AI the green light. Time to make some art.
And then this. The AI's response, this image generation request did not follow our content policy. You can't make this up. After this incredibly deep, winding, and oh-so-human exploration of creativity, the machine just says no. The existential jazz riff was apparently just too much for the system to handle. And that's where it leaves us, with this really fascinating question. When does an idea become too human for a machine to understand? This whole journey, right? From needing gas money to this complex creative vision, it just hits a wall. It really makes you wonder, at what point does a creative impulse, one that's born from a random glitch and a philosophy about infinity, become something that a machine just can't compute?